Here, our goal is to determine the size of angle X. Notice that angle X is here. And notice that vertically opposite angles are equal. This is a useful geometrical rule that we could use to help us in answering this question. It states that vertically opposite angles are equal. Now, how can we identify vertically opposite angles? Notice that this angle, angle B, is vertically opposite with this angle right here, and they are equal. And notice that this angle, angle A, is vertically opposite to this angle, and they are equal. So these, B and B, these are vertically opposite angles. And notice that A and A, these are vertically opposite angles, and vertically opposite angles are equal. And so if we look at these two angles, angle X and the angle whose size is 120 degrees, this angle, the angle whose size is 120 degrees, and angle X, these two angles are vertically opposite angles, which means that they are equal. So if the size of this angle is 120 degrees, that means that the size of angle X is also 120 degrees. And so that means that X is equal to 120 degrees because vertically opposite angles are equal. Next, our goal is to determine the size of angle Y. Here, notice that we have a Z shape. Now, what does a Z shape indicate? Notice it says here that we can often spot interior alternate angles by drawing a Z shape. So a Z shape can help us to find alternate angles. But what do we know about alternate angles? Notice that this is angle A and this is another angle, and these two angles are equal. So if we have alternate angles are going to be equal. So alternate angles, we can use a Z shape to find them, and they are equal. Alternate angles are equal. Indeed, Y is 30 degrees. This is because this angle right here is 30 degrees and Y is right here. These two angles are alternate angles, and so that means that they must be equal in measure. They must be equal. And so if this is 30 degrees, that means that Y is also 30 degrees, and Y is 30 degrees because alternate angles are equal. Next, our goal is to determine the size of angle Z. Notice that we have a C shape. We have a C shape. And a C shape can help us to identify co-interior angles. It says here we can often spot co-interior angles by drawing a C shape. Indeed, co-interior angles add up to 180 degrees. So co-interior angles add up to 180 degrees, which means that notice that here G and H are co-interior angles and they add up to 180 degrees. The same here for I and J. They form a C shape. Notice that here a C shape is formed, I should say. We have a C shape that is formed, and the C shape helps us to identify or help us to locate the co-interior angles. And I and J are co-interior angles and they add up to 180 degrees. Notice here we have a C shape. This is a parallel line. This is a parallel line, and we have a transversal right here. Indeed, Z and this angle whose size is 120 degrees are co-interior angles, which means that they are supplementary, which means that they add up to 180 degrees. So that means if we want to determine the size of angle Z, we have to do 180 degrees minus 120 degrees. And 180 minus 120 is definitely 60 degrees. And so that means that angle Z is 60 degrees. Angle Z is 60 degrees because co-interior angles add up to 180 degrees.